So this is Theo Von, a podcaster in America, who's clearly very unhappy with Israel for defending itself against jihadist terrorists with the lowest ratio of combatant to non-combatant in the history of urban warfare. But he thinks it's a genocide. And here he is talking to J.D. Vance, the current Vice President of the United States, who pushes back on what he has to say about Israel and its war in Gaza. It's an important watch. Have a watch.
I think the tough thing just as a regular person, right? It's like we're seeing all these videos of people like picking up pieces of their children and like,
of course,
it's the sickest thing I think it's ever been televised. Basically, if you consider watching something on your phone being televised,
sad, man.
It feels like a massacre, and it feels like, you know, I've called it a genocide. Other people have different thoughts about it, and that's fine, right? And I don't need anybody to share the same thoughts, or you too. But I think where it gets scary is that we give, you know, we're complicit in it because we help fund like military stuff, you know, and that's where as like a regular guy, you're like, well, I'm paying these taxes and they're going towards this, like, but you can't do anything, you know, like you can talk, you know, but it's like, you can't, I don't understand how it becomes like tough for people. Like sometimes it feels like we look out for the interests of Israel before we look out for the interests of America.
So let me say a couple things. So number one, like, I think you're a great dude, so we don't always have to agree on everything. Do I think do I think it's a genocide? No. And here's the reason why I don't think it's a genocide, because I don't think that the Israelis are purposely trying to go in and murder every Palestinian. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they got hit hard, and I think they're trying to, like, you know, sort of destroy this terrorist organization, and war is hell, and that is true. I also think it's true, man. I mean, I've seen people on my side of the political aisle. I'm a Republican. You know that, but your audience may not, who like will see these videos of these innocent Palestinian kids and say, oh, well, they had it coming to them. No. Like if you have a soul, your heart should break when you see a little kid who's suffering, which is why we have the policy that we have, which is we're trying to eliminate the conflict, eliminate the source of the conflict, so that we can actually bring some peace and some humanitarian assistance into people. And that's my basic view. And yeah, the president's interesting. He's a pro-Israel guy.
Yeah.
And he also recognizes that to bring any conflict to a close, you've got to talk to everybody. Yeah. And so, we've been attacked. I've been attacked. The president's been attacked for being too interested in diplomacy. And you ask, like, what can I do? I think that what people should demand is that if our tax dollars are going to something, we should be actively trying to fix it. Okay, that's kind of the way that I think about it. And what happened with the Biden administration, man, it's crazy. They were spending so much money all over the world, they weren't engaged in diplomacy at all. So we sent $300 billion to Ukraine, for example, and you never had the president of the United States actually trying to force a diplomatic settlement. I mean, you talk about bodies all over the ground. Dude, the Russia-Ukraine thing is the most vicious. We see satellite images, we see classified images, man. Yeah, it is vicious. And again, it's I will hear people who will say, well, you know, they're, again, mostly on our side, will say, oh, these, you know, the Russians got killed. That's a good thing. Look, I'm not defending the invasion. I'm not defending starting a war. But when human beings are getting blown to bits, your heart should feel sad about that, and you should try to do something to fix it. And that's what we're trying to do. And we get crap for it. But again, that's like the part that makes me feel the best about my job, is whether it's in Israel or Russia, Ukraine, like, we're actually trying to bring this stuff to some settlement and to some close. And if we do, we're going to save a lot of lives. And if we don't, it was worth the try.
It's interesting what J.D. Vance says. First of all, he's absolutely clear that what Israel's doing is right and just. Israel is going after Hamas, and to call it a genocide, you'd have to prove that they are intentionally targeting random and all Gazans, quite frankly. And yet the Gazan population has grown. The, as I said, combatant to non-combatant ratio is the lowest in the history of modern urban warfare. And you'd expect it to be higher, given that Hamas are embedded among civilians and try to do that. But Israel shows such care to be so pinpointed to a fault, to the point where they're actually sacrificing their own soldiers' lives to go door to door. And I question the morality of that. The majority of Gazans, according to so much data, supported the Hamas October 7th attack. They're starting to turn on them now because they see that Hamas aren't winning. It's not because they suddenly love Israel. But either way, no one wants to see any suffering. Of course they don't. But you expect Israel just to sit by when Hamas did what they did, have them hostages, brutalized their people, terrorized, murdered, beheaded, burned alive, and they'll just say, well, is what it is. The other point that I have to get to is this notion of, he says, I believe in talking to all sides. JD Vance says that. I believe in talking to all sides too. But depends whether you're able to talk, whether you have a partner that you can talk to, or whether there's nothing to talk about. In World War II, diplomacy is great, but at the end of the day, there was nothing to talk about with Nazi Germany. This is Nazi Gaza. There's no difference in terms of what they're after. And so what makes President Trump different is actually he's saying, clearly this approach hasn't been working to date. So we need to maybe have some a radical departure and look at something completely different. Like, for example, relocating these people who, for as long as they have an identity that is based on this made-up nationhood, Palestinian identity, which they've only created cynically to destroy Israel. For as long as they're based in Gaza and develop that narrative, they're going to continue to want to hate Jews. They're going to suffer because Israel's going to have to retaliate. It's going to be a mess. So how about move them to a different part of the Arab world of which they consider themselves a part, and look at things that way? Everyone wants a resolution to the conflict. Everyone wants peace. Everyone wants everyone to lead their best lives on all sides. The question, though, is how you achieve it. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.